Hello and welcome to the Curling Champions Tour event here in Bern, Switzerland. We're going to cover the International Bernese Ladies Cup with 32 teams competing. They played a triple knockout system on Friday and Saturday until 8 teams were remaining that played the quarterfinal this morning. Now we are in the semi-final stage, only 4 teams left fighting for a spot in the final this afternoon. We're going to feature the semi-final between Team Canada Arsenault against Team Denmark Nielsen. My name is Nicole Strausak and alongside me is Mike Harris, a real sports professional himself. Not only has he been silver medalist at the Olympic Games in Nagano 98, he was also a golf professional for many years back in Ontario, Canada, and we know him as well from the commentary box of the CBC broadcast. So hello Mike, nice to have you here.
Thanks Nicole, great to be here. And, not to be outdone, you're Swiss champion yourself and you've played against many of these teams, so it's great to be in the booth, and we've known each other a long time.
That's
Since
right.
1986, I think we met for the first time. So it's great to be finally work with you. This is fun.
So you've been here already in the morning in the quarterfinals.
I was here bright and early, yes.
Maybe give us a little head up what happened in these games in the morning?
For sure. Marianne Arsenault defeated Annette Norberg in her semi-final, extra end actually. Great. She had to draw the forfeit to win, and then Nielsen from Denmark. She also had to draw the forfeit to win against Hasselborg from Sweden. So both of these skips made some pressure shots to win their semi-final matchups or their quarterfinal matchups rather. And the other two teams remaining are Erica Brown from the United States. That was our feature game, and she was stole 1 in 7 to take control, won that game 5-3, and then Tiranzoni from Switzerland really controlled her semi-final and won quite easily. All 4 teams actually seem to be playing very well, so it should be a good, the remainder of the day should be quite exciting, should be excellent.
So we're also going to update you on the score of the other semi-final, of course. And here is our featured game. Team Arsenault playing with the Red Rocks. They're having the hammer in the first end because they came out of the A road of the triple knockout. And Team Lene Nielsen with the Blue Rocks, they qualified out of the B road. So actually we just see that there's a mix-up with the colors on our screen. It's the other way around. Team Nielsen is playing the Red Rocks. I'm sorry about that, and we're going to change it on the screen any minute.
That's right. We'll blame Martin. He's over there. That's fine. You're right, though, that Arsenault does have the hammer, and for most curling fans, they would be very familiar with this Canadian team, Marianne Arsenault. This is the Colleen Jones team. 3 of the 4 players on the team. Colleen is actually throwing second now and sweeping, which is really interesting. And here comes Colleen out of the hack. So we're on to third rocks. Kim Kelly, who played third for Colleen for many years. Colleen on the right-hand side sweeping there. So interesting to see the former skip sweeping, but this team decided to get back together after a few years apart, and they're enjoying some success here in Bern and having some fun curling. I was speaking with them last night, and Marianne used to play second. She's now skipping the team. Colleen still comes into the house and holds the broom for Marianne's last shot, and Kim Kelly continues to sweep as she always did. That team, Kim always has been sweeping on that team. Their former lead, Nancy Delahunt, used to come into the house with Colleen as well. So, it's great to see them back playing again and enjoying curling. 5-time Canadian champion. Actually, Colleen's won 6 Canadian championships, but the 3 of them won 5 in a row together back in the early 2000s.
Yeah, they were really dominating the Canadian Championships between 90. 2009 and 2004, I believe, back to back with one exception in 2000. They won all the other 5 tournaments of hearts and represented Canada at the Worlds. Not always being in the medals, which always is a bit a surprise, or let's say we expect a medal from a Canadian team.
I just think, you know, the women's game is come so far, and there's so many good teams now. And Colleen, we even see, you know, we've talked about Jennifer Jones over the years, and she's had the same fate happen to her a couple of times where she didn't medal. I think it was 3 years ago she came fourth, or 4 years ago came fourth the year Bing Yuang won her world championship. So yeah, the women's field is very deep, but there's so many good teams out there, and we were talking about it this morning in the leading up to Sochi. You could say there are 6 or 7 countries that really have a legitimate chance of winning the gold medal in Sochi. I think it's fair to say that the women's field is very, very even right now.
Which I think is really great, because that makes the sport just much more interesting. And of course also tournaments like this, like the Champions Tour here in Europe, that really adds also to bring up the level and to have a lot of good competition where we also can compete in Switzerland.
That's right. Big breakthrough last year for Miriam Ott, as everyone remembered. She made that fantastic shot to win the World Championship, and you know, really made her mark after many years of a few silver medals over the years.
And that you're mentioning Miriam Ott, of course we have 3 teams missing here at this competition, the 3 teams representing the world at the Continental Cup.
3 European teams, yeah, and there's also another couple of Canadian teams that could be here as well, but there's 6 really good women's teams that aren't here, but everybody else is here, I think, that isn't at the Continental Cup. So it's a great strong field here.
That's right. I think 12 nations competing here, so a real good international field.
Well, so down to Skips Rocks here now, and Marianne will be looking to try to blank this end. Not much going on in terms of getting her a chance to score 2 points. Wants to stay here. I said that, but look, she's going to roll behind, almost behind the corner guard. I kept talking this morning about what might happen, and I end up being wrong a lot of times. So I'm just going to leave it alone for a while today and see how the shot making goes.
But that leaves the opportunity for Lene Nielsen now to play a hit and roll behind that corner guard, and like that force the Canadians to take a 1 in the first team. So let's see if Lene Nielsen can accomplish.
I always say in the first end, it's important just to make sure you get rid of the stone, and if you make the roll, great, but you don't want to get come too close to that guard.
Especially because it's a guard of the opponent.
Yeah, feathered in, you could give up 3.
But she's playing a nice control weight.
Great shot. I think it rolled actually a little too far. That was difficult to do, to roll too far there, but I mean, the blank is still available for Marianne.
And it's always good to roll to a different spot in the first end, because you might not know the ice exactly on the outside end, so at least that is a task that needs to be fulfilled first, to blank that end.
Marianne's a really good hitter. She played second for all those championship teams, and at that time was one of the best hitters in the game, and expect her to be close on this. She can throw quite heavy takeout weight when she needs to. Little over curl. So a bit of a miss there for Marianne. Even though she got her single point, she'll be disappointed with that result and would like to have tried to get 2. So I think a little bit of momentum for Team Denmark as they exchange high fives there between ends.
Yes, exchange high fives and probably also discuss what the end plan should be in the second end, now that they're having the hammer for the first time.
We were talking about it this morning where, you know, I keep saying Colleen's team, but it's not Colleen's team, but Team Arsenault, they're very comfortable with, you know, low scoring games. In their day, they were very conservative, a lot of hitting. We saw this morning a lot of single points being scored in their match against the Net Norberg, and never seen a team really. They stay positive all the time, even with a 1 point lead. They've seen everything there is to see in this game, and they're very, very patient.
So Jen Baxter throwing lead rock. She's the new girl in the team.
Yes, yeah, she was. I think she's enjoying herself playing with the three veterans.
We're curling. All the way in. Hard, hard, hard.
So I would guess they still play out of Halifax, Nova
Yes,
Scotia.
yeah, they all live in the Halifax area, so they're looking forward to go home next week. They start their provincial playdowns.
They've changed up their order on the other sheet.
Starts in 2 weekends, actually. I think the weekend of the 22nd, 23rd, they're on the ice. They start on the Tuesday, I believe, she was saying. They, you know, all the teams that are here, they're of the Canadian teams that are here, they're the team that is outside looking in for an opportunity to play in Sochi. They actually really need to win the Nova Scotia Championships and have a good run at the Scotties to get into the Olympic pre-trials. They're only they just formed, they just got back together, don't have very many points at all. Even though they've already won one Bonspiel this year, they're very far behind in the points. So a good result here actually is very helpful for them. A lot of CTRS points available for the winner of this event. So this was the most. They had the most to gain by having a good performance here in Bern of all the Canadian teams.
So even more, they want to fight their way through the final, and besides that, they could win 6,000 francs
nice.
in the final.
Nice too.
So
the money's nice
that's
too,
always nice
sure.
too,
Yeah.
exactly. And we saw quite a classic opening here in the second N. First rock of the Canadians didn't turn out exactly as they wanted. Just over-curled a bit and stayed on the side of the center line. The Danish team then played a corner guard themselves, and Team Canada played another rock into the rings.
Yeah, it's actually a very comfortable situation now for Denmark with they can make the double here. Nice shot, and all of a sudden they're kind of controlling the front of the house, and that stone's too close to the rings for Marianne to leave alone. We're noticing the rocks are very dead here in the ring, so to make a double takeout, you actually have to hit the second stone very thin. The rocks, you're not getting the action we're used to seeing some other clubs. So it's really a little bit surprising. I noticed it last night as I was here watching some of the qualifying games, but having the ability to throw a little bit up weight will certainly be an advantage.
Yes, we are here in the Bernese ice rink. It's a 8-sheet ice rink. I believe it's still the largest in Europe.
Beautiful club, actually. Yeah, it's very unique, and you know, it's really like no other. You know, the viewing, 2 levels of viewing, beautiful restaurant on the main level, and it's great place to come watch an event for sure.
It has been opened a bit more than 10 years ago, and Stefan Rötlisberger being the ice maker here in Bern actually since the beginning of this new ice rink. So what have you seen of the ice conditions so far?
Well, I've been speaking to the teams, and you know, I spoke at length actually with Colleen and Marianne last night, and of course they went through the A side, so they love the ice. The team's going through the A side, but I was Elaine Dag Jackson, who's the national team coach for Canada's here with the 4 teams, and And speaking with her and her husband Glenn, they were just saying late in the game, the slide path starts to get a little bit soft, and you have to be. You don't really want to have to make a big draw late in the game under pressure. Although, as I said this morning, Marianne was able to make a nice draw to the forefooot to win. But as the rocks come into the center line late in the game, we see quite often it slows down, gets a little bit heavy, and being an experienced team is certainly helpful in this situation. So, little miss there from Colleen. That was a pretty simple shot actually, but.
But otherwise, the ice seems keen.
People are happy with the ice. Yeah, I think this is fair. Erica Brown had great control of her draw weight this morning, and it looks pretty consistent as long as you stay in the pebble. Going wide is fine, and a lot of curl, enough curl anyway, 3.5 feet or so. Yeah,
That's good. Yeah.
people seem happy, which is good.
It's
Good
always
news
the
for the
same
ice maker.
for both teams. Exactly.
That's right. No
and,
excuses anyway, right?
It's always also the challenge, of course, of good teams to adapt to also changing ice during the game, and I guess that also makes the difference between great teams and just good teams to being able to adapt to the ice conditions. But a nice curl, of course, always helps to have a bit of an offensive game. We definitely had already more curl in Bern. I had tournaments here where there was really even more curl, but I guess with the curl we have here we can expect a nice also offensive game.
Well, there's a pretty good indication here that Kim Kelly thinks she can get around this guard and tap this stone out of the rings. So.
I still have a Kim Kelly shirt back home.
Do you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kim's great fun. She's one of those. I always thought she was a little bit. You hate to say like a 5-time Canadian champion, kind of being an underrated third, but she just seemed to make a lot of shots when Colleen and their team were having some success. They just seemed to, every time they needed a big shot, Kim seemed to come up with the goods. So, and you don't find a nicer person either in the curling than Kim. She's a real sweet lady.
Well, and it says a lot also concerning these ladies. They've been together for so many years,
yes,
traveling a lot within Canada, within the whole world, and you need to get on really well to stick together and actually come back together after a break.
Yes.
And says a lot also concerning the friendship they must have.
So interesting situation now here for Denmark. They threw a guard last time. Now they're going into the rings wide, and they don't even need to get shot rock. They're going to really, but that's a perfect draw. They're in a pretty good situation here to try to score 2 points. So I was really impressed with Nielsen. I went up to Karlstad to watch the European Championships in December, and she's someone who just seemed to make a lot of good quality shots. Wasn't afraid of making a big shot late in the game to win.
Yeah, unfortunately they didn't make it to the podium in Karlstad. They finished 4th, actually after having played playoff game against Switzerland to qualify for the playoff.
Yes.
But after that lost their games and just losing out the medals, which is a pity, but I'm sure we see this team again internationally, maybe already at the next international event in Riga in March. We're going to have the next World Championships, and most of the European teams and nations, they will have actually their playdowns in the next few weeks.
Her opponents that many people know, Madeleine Dupont. She's a really solid team. They're here as well this week. They struggled though. They were into the Consolation Cup fairly early.
I just confirmed
What
with
Marianne's
Annie
looking to do,
that
she'd love to nose hit this stone, then Nielsen will probably nose hit it, and then there might be a double. The angle there is not there for the double right now,
she said, yeah, it is. It is.
but there's a good separation of those stones. So she can nose hit, and then Nielsen might have to actually draw if she wants to avoid leaving a double for Marianne.
Yep. Yep. Right to it. I don't want to roll. No roll, Kim. No. Okay. Okay. Good shot.
They say no roll. They want to keep it high in the rings. And now the double is available if Nielsen plays a nose hit. That was the thought here. So.
That's also why Team Nielsen actually wants to roll just a little bit to the outside, just to make that double afterwards that bit harder.
They don't even really need to stay in the 12. They don't even really need to stay in for second shot. They can actually roll right out to the edge of the 12 foot. And I still think that they see the good luck, the stone on the left-hand side. I'm knowing Colleen and Marianne, I think they will hit the open one and give her the deuce and stay patient. So we'll see where this ends up.
They're sweeping it hard, so it is actually over curling.
And actually, it's I was going to say not a terrible break, but rolled buried. But it's a decision time now for Marianne and Colleen. It said roll to a point where it's buried, and it's a pretty good shot. The problem for Nielsen now is that if a freeze is made here by Arsenault, the end is over, and they're only going to get 1 point. But the good news is if she misses, she's going to have a chance for 3. I say good and bad. I'm not sure if she'd be happy with it, but we'll let you know after Marianne throws. I think is the answer. But a lot of pressure here now on this shot for Marianne all of a sudden.
It's her first draw in this game. But of course, the tournament has been going on already for 3 days, so she will, and also the sweepers will know which weight she has to play.
But you know, even her sweepers, they haven't actually thrown that many draws. The only person that's really thrown a draw is her lead, so they'll have to have a lot of communication here. And difficult shot here in the second end for Arsenault.
Got room, girls.
They're on it right away.
Can you let that bend for a bit? Let it bend. Let it bend.
You gotta work.
We're all right.
Way
Only
out
if
there.
you need it.
It's
Still needs to curl a lot.
It does, and it's heavy too.
Can we go? Great weight.
Yeah, it just didn't curl. Here Colleen say great weight, but really nowhere close for line.
Even though they are lying shot, of course, this is an open hit and I would say easy shot for Lene Nielsen to score a possible 3 in this second end.
I like her chances, yes, I agree. Interesting the way Lene throws the rock. A lot of movement in her hand as the rock's coming out. Seems to be
She turns it to the wrong side, actually.
and then turns it the other way, exactly. So pretty unusual, actually. You don't see many teams, many top throwers doing that.
You would teach it differently.
Much, yeah. Well, I wouldn't say much, but you just don't see it very often. But good shot, good result for Nielsen. She gets 3 here in the out of nowhere. Really, there was a kind of bit of a surprising 3 points, but got a good break with her roll and got a miss.
That's sometimes how it goes. I mean, Lene's first rock was actually not the way she wanted it. It was not a miss, but maybe a half miss.
Yeah, and
but as we had another miss after that, all of a sudden there's a 3 on the table.
We just need to know we can be a little patient. Oh yes, lots of game left. Yes, lots of game left. Perfect draw weight. Perfect draw weight.
So we're going to introduce the teams to you in the third end, I believe.
Love a challenge.
Love it.
While the Canadians
Lord, no.
have again a bit to rethink of that second end and probably discussing what they can do different in the next end?
Well, the good news is they don't have to make a lot of, not a lot of decisions to be made. They are going to have to play aggressively and throw some guards and try to get their 2 points back. It's I said 3-1 now as we go into the third end. Here's our Canadian team and Jennifer Baxter. So her idol is Team Jones. I don't know if that's Colleen Jones or Jennifer. I'll go with Colleen, I think. And now that they're playing together, and of course Kim Kelly is throwing third rock. She does sweep. She's a pharmacist, and major successes. Yeah, understatement. She's only got her 2 world championships on there, but I said to win 5 Canadian championships along with Colleen Jones, and I like her. Raising 2 awesome humans. Those are her kids.
That's gonna curl.
Yeah, 6 Canadian championships, and she's a longtime reporter with CBC at home. And there's Marianne, who's switched to skip here. So, massage therapist in Halifax. And again, and in her day was probably the best second in the game, and now she's trying to make that talent over to skip. And they've had, as I said, some success already this year. They've already won one tournament in Toronto. Stu Sells event in October. And hoping to represent Nova Scotia again. I think Colleen already holds the record in Canada for most times representing a province. I don't know, she's up to, including mixed championships, I think she's up to 25 or 30 times she's represented Nova Scotia. It's crazy how much success she's had. So I
That
think
is amazing.
yeah, they're trying to get there again, back to the Scott Turner of Hearts.
And then we have the Danish team with Maria Paulsen on the lead position. She's a teacher. And 28 years old, Jean Ellegaard playing second and actually vice skipping in the team. Still a student and studying back in Denmark. Helle Simonsen on the third position, herself a teacher. And actually the team was fourth back to back at the fourth at the World Championship and fourth at the European Championship, and Lene Nielsen playing skip and fourth, 26 years old, very experienced herself already. Lasse Larsen on the coach position, a long time active player himself in team Ulrich Schmidt, and he has been with the team for the last 6 years doing a lot of good work with them. You can visit also the Facebook page of the team. We're playing out of the curling club Vidovre back in Copenhagen.
I noticed they all started curling in 1998. Do you think that had anything to do with me, or more like Helena Black Larvesen, who won the silver medal for Denmark at those Olympic Games? So there, and back then there wasn't even a curling club, I don't think, and Helena's success in Nagano actually
that was the reason, I think, for fun being in Denmark.
Yeah.
And
so that was a huge breakthrough for Denmark back in '98. She lost the Olympic gold medal game to Sandra Schmerler, but said they were so thrilled. I remember perspective's everything, isn't it? You know, when I know we lost the final to Patrick Erleman, we weren't quite as happy as they were. I don't think our expectations, I think, for Denmark at that Olympic Games, if winning a medal was just a huge breakthrough for them, and it's really changed the face of curling in Denmark.
yeah, and since then we have actually seen a lot of good Danish teams.
Very much so.
At the men's as well as at the ladies, being very much in the top half of the Europeans.
Definitely.
Also winning medals at the World, so a few good teams coming out from Denmark.
Sienna. Go, Sienna.
Yeah, the young Rasmus Sterna team from Denmark. They're very good. Watched them play in a couple of events this year, and
Yeah. Double bonus.
kind of fearless. You know, they won a World Junior Championship, and just been. You know, I said you're right about some of the teams now coming out of Denmark are very strong. Not you know, traditionally. 10 years ago, you wouldn't have said a traditionally strong curling country, but the top 2 or 3 teams on both the men and the women's side actually win a lot of games.
Go, hard! Good.
So Lene Nielsen's team, I'm just looking that up. They have already won medal at the European Curling Championship back in 2007. They came back home with a bronze medal and also some success earlier at the World Junior events. But in the recent years, they're still looking for their first medal again back at the Europeans or Worlds.
There was a mistake from the Danes, so chance now to lie 3 here for Marianne. Kim Kelly being asked for a hit and roll.
Looking very good for the Canadians as the middle is completely open, no center guard around at all, and
yeah, no chance for. Yeah, they're not going to steal. It doesn't look like, so they want to be precise here and make sure they stay. Great shot there from Kim Kelly to lie 3 here with just a few rocks to come. Certainly want to try to make sure they score 2 at least here in this third end to tie the game, and 3 would be a bonus.
So Helle Simonsen wants to roll with the shooter to a spot that makes the hit and stay more difficult for the Canadians.
They rolled a little bit, and nose hit is required here to hit it straight through between the 2
Which
blues.
turn looks best?
Either one.
You have room on the out?
Sure, yeah.
With a nose hit, of course, a possible double takeout afterwards for the Danish team will be easier.
Yeah, not a lot of choice here for Team Canada. They can't afford to hit that on either side. They have to hit it on the nose.
Yep.
Interesting, they've changed turns here.
Hard!
Just through the in-turn on their first one. Now they're going the out
Hard!
Yep.
Hard!
Woo! Well swept.
Someone was happy about that.
That's Kim. Yeah, you always know what's going on with Kim. She's gets wears her emotion on her sleeve. Look at their sweeping, trying to make sure they avoid the one at the back. Look how close that is to the one. Well swept.
So now definitely a double takeout is needed here.
Actually, they hit it right. They might be able to get all 3, but certainly want to make sure they get rid of 2 of them. Watch. I'd like to watch this handle again from Lene. The way she moves the rock when she's throwing. You said it's quite unusual. It's out and then back in again. The one positive I would say is she does it all the time and very consistent. Want to make sure she stays with the shooter. So there's a big break. So.
Okay.
It is because now the Canadians can choose where they want to throw their next draw. They can choose the spot to make a possible double takeout as hard as possible or actually impossible.
Yeah, the natural shot here is to go to the left side, or now that we're overhead to the right side, left side, right side. Come on, Martin, you're making it's hard over here. Yeah. So they're going to draw to the left side, so the only one option for the double is available. And if the reason you throw it over there, if she does try to make the double, the shooter will roll out of play, and you end up having a free draw for 2. If you throw it to the right side, you might end up leaving something where hit and roll buried, or might get her out of trouble. But Having said that, Marianne can really, she can throw it wherever she likes, and depends on what, if they know the ice and what they'd like to do. So. She is throwing the in-turn actually, so this is the one they're familiar with. They've seen this rock a few times already, so they'll take the one they know, which I actually like. I like that decision as well.
I guess the goal here is not to go into too deep. Because if she does go right onto the tee line or even further back, that would all of a sudden raise a possible chance for a freeze. Not that you want to freeze when you don't have last rock, of course,
and
because
especially when you're up 3-1, I would be surprised if you played the freeze. But
yeah, but if she's fully buried, then maybe all of a sudden she's not left with another option. And actually, that's not what Team Canada wants.
No, true enough. True enough. So interesting decision. That's a pretty good draw. So the double is available straight back. Nice thing is too, if she does make the double, shooter might roll over into towards the center line and make things difficult for Marianne. But not the easiest double.
Hvor vil du ramme den henne? Ja. Hvor meget tror du, den køler? Der? Jeg tror måske, det er for meget.
So well played end here from Team Canada. After giving up 3 in the second end, they actually have an opportunity to score at least 2 here. As I said, if the doubles, you always assume your opponents are going to make their shot. And so if Lenny Nielsen's able to make the double, Marianne will have a shot for 2 to tie this game up. And I'm sure Marianne and her teammates have her fingers crossed that they'll not make the double. Want this rock to curl a little bit to make the double. Just didn't quite curl enough, and rolls open, and now Marianne Arsenault has a hit for 3.
Yeah. Yeah, and you threw it, you threw firm, and you got the movement, you hit and roll to there.
That's I like inside out
like
on this one, but it's whatever you know the ice for.
It is.
You could just hear Kim Kelly say, you know, I like inside out. What that means is taking the other turn. And that's the natural turn. It's easier to control the sweeping. When you're waiting for the rock to curl up, it's difficult sometimes to make sure you hit and stay. So we'll see what happens here with this. But again, it's early in the game. You like taking the ice where you know what it's going to do, as opposed to, you know, the right shot to throw, so to speak.
Doesn't matter where we roll, I guess, but.
So listen for Colleen right away to see what she thinks. Want to sweep it.
So here is the last rock of this third end. Marianne Arsenault.
She's got to go to stay.
Just over curling.
Actually got lucky they didn't take their own out and give up, only get 1 point there, but they got their 2, tied the game up here in the third end.
Pro side. Yep. Pro side. 2 straight. Så kan man lære det.
I'm sure it was a little scary there for Marianne. It was coming down. First she thought she might miss it entirely, and then secondly the shooter almost took her own out at the back 12-foot. But
and it wasn't a horrible go, but it was a yes from the hand.
Exactly, yeah.
And
we didn't want to be hitting it on this side, right?
So with a not perfectly played rock, they still manage to tie up the game at 3-3 after 3 ends. I just take a quick look to the other semi-final game that is going on. This is played between Erica Brown with her team from the United States against Silvana Tirinzoni, playing out from Aarau, Switzerland. And the score there is 2-1 for Team Tirinzoni. They're only in the third end though, but Team Tirinzoni with the hammer.
Yeah, it's perfect ice.
yeah, we saw Silvana do that this morning. Took 2 with the hammer and give up 1. That's what she's done already. So that's a good pattern to get into if you're trying to win games. Take 2 when you have last rock and give them 1 when you don't.
We're top 12.
Nice weight, Jen.
Good
Good.
girl.
Nice shot. Yeah.
So we have some questions that came already in. We're going to show you the email address just in a minute where you can contact us. And we have a message from Australia from Jay Merchant. Very nice to see that
Cool.
we also have
Nice, guys.
spectators and listeners from far away as that. And Jay has a question for Mike and is wondering if you are still competing overseas now that you are actually working away from Canada, because Mike, you are now in Champery. You
Right.
started the curling school in Champery.
Yes. No, I don't think I'm going to be competing over here. It's just difficult to. Well, I actually split time here between Switzerland and Canada. I still do commentating back home, and my kids are back home, so I'm here 2 weeks and home 2 weeks. So difficult to commit to a team over here. I started the season with a team back in Canada actually, and we played in Champery. But no, I don't. I'm on the ice actually a fair amount now, which is great. But haven't really had a real competitive game in quite a while, because I played the one Bonspiel in Champery with my team in October. And haven't really thrown a competitive stone since then. So maybe you never know. I never say never. Maybe next year do that. What do I have to do to play in the Swiss Championships, Nicole? Can I do that? Is that allowed?
I think you need to live here 2 years.
Oh, is that right? Okay. Well, okay.
If
So
I'm
maybe
not
in
mistaken,
2015, I'll
Let's go,
see what happens. So.
But how many tournaments do you play back in Canada? With your
Well,
team?
I don't play any, because I said I was splitting my time between there and here. It's just too difficult. So, we haven't played any for. I said we played one at the beginning of the season in September before I took the job, and then I played the one Bonspiel in Champery, but that's been it for me this year.
Good.
So we have a nice situation here in the fourth end. Actually, we're going to play 8 ends, 1 extra end.
Stay close.
If the winner is not determined by then the winner of the game is the team without the hammer in the extra end.
Where is it?
Go, go!
Line's fine. Line's fine.
To it
Line's
on its
fine.
own.
Only the final is going to be played with as many extra ends as needed.
That rule is crazy to me. I can't believe that we do this, where if it's a blank end, the team without last rock wins. That's just so. It actually changes the strategy significantly in the extra end. That if you're a rock, if there's one guard and you come half around, it's actually a big advantage to the team without last rock. And I personally, I'm having my vote. It's a terrible rule, and I'll say it. We did the same thing in Champery, and I think it's just a crazy way to play curling. It's not curling in my opinion. We'll leave that alone.
There's just one reason for it, and that is the time schedule of a triple knockout system.
That's no reason. You can't change the rules of curling because of the time. That's crazy, so. But that's only my opinion. But
fortunately, it doesn't happen that many times.
It only has to happen once for it to be wrong. That's the way I look at it. And I think if I had the hammer in the extra end, and you had it really changes the strategy. You really have to be careful with how you play the end, knowing that if you blank the end, you lose. That's a huge change. Big change.
Nice shot.
You almost want to have a few rocks in play, leave a few biters around of your opponents. So you feel better about rolling out if it happens. So a good situation here for Team Canada, Team Arsenault, with 2 center guards and a rock buried and 1 at the back 4 foot. So then Nielsen recognizes that, and she's trying to move the center guard over, try to make the run back, open things up a little bit.
So if you too have any questions or comments, you can write us on live@curlingchampionstour.org.
They hit something and went away.
They tried to do the
We
running.
also have a Facebook page, or you can visit curlingchampionstour.org website with a lot of information on the whole tour.
Well, then they get a
It's
double,
actually a
Kim.
tour
They
with
can double and roll
7 men's events and 6 ladies competition. This is already the 5th ladies competition. Only Glynhill in Glasgow, Scotland is going to finish off the tour sometimes in
You
January.
like the bump?
That's next weekend, I think. Talking with Elaine Jackson, they're going there. She's on her way there tomorrow, and Heather Nedowin's team, the defending Canadian champions, are going to be competing in that event.
Weight's nice. Weight's all there.
Yep. Yep.
Yes for line.
Round.
Hard line.
Round. Whoa. Whoa. Whoa.
Weight's nice.
Playing a little tap here.
Go, 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 go.
Nice
Good,
shot
Kim.
there from
Nice
Kelly.
Shot, Kimmy.
Very nice.
39.
The beauty of that shot is that if the double is made, the shooter's going to stay open. So that was nice to bump it on that angle.
Go. Yep. Yep. Whoa. Yep. Yep.
Nice shot. Almost got the 3 of them going. Things are starting to get a little bit simpler now for Nielsen. Kim Kelly has to roll to the right side as we're looking at it there now
Yep.
with her out turn.
Whoa, whoa. Whoa. Yep.
Yeah, which means she's going to open up the center a bit with that rock.
Too firm.
Good shot.
Just wants to make sure she stays and be able to force them to taking one. It does, stays in the house.
But somehow, for me, that's a real turning point in this end, because now all of a sudden it's looking very good for Team Nielsen.
Well, she can use the guard now, the corner guard. She can either
Absolutely.
hit roll behind or she can draw there,
Then
whatever she
Amel.
likes. But that was a great double she made on their first one, to really change the way the end's being played.
Jeg gør begge ting.
The rocks where they are now is actually everywhere where Team Nielsen wants to have them.
Yeah, corner
Their
guards,
corner
things are open,
guards
yeah.
on the side. Okay, there is a bit annoying biter, the second rock of Team Canada, which might be decisive that someone is going to score in that.
Yeah,
that
there
end.
won't be a blank likely
Whoa.
with that rock in play. You're right.
Whoa.
But the roll doesn't happen. It's just a hit and stick.
Kim's collars didn't do much. Do you want to try for the roll? Yeah. I agreed with Kimmy. Do you want a little less? Kim looked like she threw that pretty good, and rolled all the way to there.
I agree. Yep. There? Sure.
They're just discussing whether or not they want to make the roll. The bad news about making the roll is it's behind the tee line. The good news is it's
Gotta stand
in the
back
forefoot.
up.
So just a question of what your team prefers to do.
Huh? Starting to straighten a little now, maybe.
It's definitely, I think that's just maybe just a spot.
Maybe.
A
'cause
little
hers
bit,
just-
but
Stayed there too.
Yeah. Hers was super straight.
I'm a
And
little
I
afraid
think
that
there might be a bit of a gully.
So the
I'm
three are
thinking
just
you're right,
discussing the
Marianne, 'cause
ice.
my
The
jaw is
sweepers
like-
were also thinking that it's quite a straight spot there.
Yes.
We're going for that.
Well, Kim just threw the spot and her rock didn't curl much. And so the nice thing about teams that have curled together a long time, they learn to trust each other's releases and understand
Never.
that if you throw it the same way. And this rock is running very straight. Very straight indeed.
8-8. Okay. Okay.
Okay, so now he said the advantage goes to Denmark. They can use the corner guard. Try to get their deuce. This was the spot in the second end where Marianne tried to play her freeze and it didn't curl enough. So Marianne had just outside the edge of the forefoot and it got to the button. So we'll see if Nielsen can get a little bit more curl on her draw.
I'm wondering how the curl would be on the in turn.
Turn side, yeah. for sure.
Det har jeg ikke meget lyst til.
Might be a good option.
Hendes hak. Men
So the
det kan
speed
godt være,
seems to be pretty good across the sheets. So we saw
Men
this
altså,
morning
prøv at lade den arbejde lidt i starten.
people going out to the edge of the 12 foot and drawing, and the speed seemed to be quite good. So,
05 tror jeg godt.
but we'll see how Nielsen's draw weight is and whether she can get it curling. So there's getting that out and then back over for the out turn.
8.
Definitely much
Ja.
tighter
Plads.
right away than
8.
Marianne's ever was.
Men, wow! 8 er rigeligt! 8. Skift den!
She's saying a lot of room.
God fart.
Her line's
Træk
pretty
den
good
nu,
though.
Janne. Jep. 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 Jep.
Well
Jep.
past the guard.
Kør, Helle. Jep. Ja, det er en god fart. God.
There's a good look at it. It just doesn't finish very well. I think you're right, Nicole. The out turn,
Yeah, it definitely does not
the
move
intern,
there.
wide intern might have been an easier
Here
draw.
you can afford to kind of,
I take a little more ice there.
because you can
And again, the
afford
good
to
news here for
roll
Marianne,
my
she doesn't even
side
really need to
instead
stay. She can just hit and roll away, and Nielsen will be
Stubborn.
forced to take one.
Yeah, I'm wondering if you might need a titch off center, though.
of outside center.
Yeah. Just because I think once you start on center, it really does bend right from the
I
get-go.
think we haven't seen anything yet bend.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, it looks good.
Careful, careful.
Yep.
No, it's
Whoa,
going.
whoa, 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 whoa!
Just
It's
clean.
going.
Just
Whoa!
clean.
It'll go.
Roll. I'm thinking about it. Stay.
Hangs around.
Roll.
Okay, Marie, sorry.
Der er min læg, ja. Ja. Jeg havde 15 på Lene.
Which leaves Lene Nielsen with a draw into the 4 foot. Well, full 12 foot actually is enough
Yeah.
to score her one in that fourth end.
Yeah, same shot you just threw.
En lille smule mere is. Ja.
But again, mission accomplished for Team Arsenault, holding your opponent to one. If she does that, we'll just update you. The other semi-final, they're tied 2-2 after 3 ends. Erica Brown stole a point in that other semi-final.
8.
So a couple of tight games going on here.
Godt, Lene.
And there's a nice draw from Lene Nielsen.
So while the teams are getting ready to go into the fifth end, I have another question for you, Mike, also from Jay Merchant from Australia. Actually, I'm reading that he's on the Australian mixed double team that is going to represent his country in New Brunswick at the Worlds in April. And he's just wondering about your thoughts on that format of the mixed doubles, because he was listening also to some commentary on the TSN channel of your
Right.
colleagues Russ and Linda, and it seems that their impression was well, not so positive about that format. What are your thoughts of the mixed doubles?
Well, if he wants me to disagree with Russ and Linda, he's looking at the wrong person. I think it's a game that was created for the wrong reasons. I think the World Curling Federation and whomever came up with it was looking for a way to maybe get another way to get another medal into the Olympic Games, that type of thing. And I'm not a huge fan of it. I've only played it once, to be honest, so I don't have the right appreciation for the skill that's required to do it. But it seems to me when there's rocks in play before you start the end and you're only throwing 5 rocks, it's a little bit fabricated. But you know, I know it's gaining in popularity around the world. It seems the World Mixed Doubles Championship is actually a big event now, and there's a lot of countries that compete. And I know Switzerland has had great success in that tournament. They're going
back-to-back
three out of
world
four.
champion.
I think they've won 3 out of 4 world
Irene
championships.
Shori and Tony Müller.
Yeah, and I think they've only lost 1 game in 4 years. I think they lost the semis 1 year and won the other 3 years. So I imagine there's some. I think once you learn to play it, it's fine. But you know, you see people sweeping their own rocks and jumping up, and it's not. I think it's a little bit fabricated, but I think it would be fun to play and be fun to compete in for sure.
So we wish Jay, anyways, all the best luck for that championship.
Yeah, maybe you win a world championship. That would be great.
Go for it.
Yeah, you're so far you're tied for the lead, and you're going to enjoy coming to New Brunswick as well. It's a great, nice curling community out there, and it's a lot of fun. So I know the mixed doubles. I think it was in Turkey last year. They had a great event and a lot of fun, to compete in.
And we have another email in from Brian Gray, of course also commentator here sometimes for laola1.tv and the Curling Champions Tour. Brian is writing us from Riga and enjoying the commentary.
Let it move a little.
Brian with smartcurling.com doing a lot of work also in Riga with different teams there. And Brian has also realized that the rocks have been quite unlively here in Bern, and as he has been training and working here in Bern also for quite some years, he knows that at the start when this arena opened back in 2001, that was different. So can you, Mike, maybe explain us what can happen to stones during a time? Is it when they have been played?
Well,
or
my experience with it is the width of the striking band and how much contact is being made has a big factor in how much energy gets transferred in. The striking bands here are quite flat, is my impression, and I think that just there's not the same transfer of energy from stone to stone that you see if the striking bands are much more, I guess, narrow. They're much more lively as the stones come off, and a lot of it has to do with the type of granite. I'm not 100% sure what type of granite they have in these stones as well. So. But we quite often see Treffer granite being used for the striking band portion, and then blue hone granite being on, blue hone inserts being in. So I can't really speak to that as I've not been out there testing the rocks. But I know the striking bands are quite flat here, so that quite often will have an impact on how lively the stones are.
Maybe
certainly not the ice, because the speed is good. The speed is very good on the ice. So.
Yeah, maybe we can catch up with someone from the ice crew later on and find out.
It just, I noticed, it's the first thing I noticed yesterday watching people throw double takeouts. They throw a shot that looks like the rocks are going to fly out of the house, and they really don't go anywhere. It's been really, really interesting to watch, and we saw it again this morning. Making a double takeout, you have to be really precise with how you're hitting the stone.
Order! 4! 12! Yep! 3! Den er langsom. 12! Yep! Ej, 3. Retning er helt super perfekt. Ej, det går godt. Så langt de kan, så langt de kan, så langt de kan. Okay,
there's a little mistake there from Nielsen, so they threw the center guard, came around too deep, and then
Which way do you like?
Chance now for Arsenault to lie too buried.
This looks
I
pretty
was actually
nice.
thinking, or Marianne, what about the straight freeze to the back one? All the way to the back one.
We don't need to go to the back.
I like freezing ours.
I like there too.
Okay. I just think they'd ignore it. That's all.
So this is
I
the
think a little more,
intern
Marianne.
side.
I think
This
it's
was
gonna finish hard at the end. I think of your hit. It's going to walk.
That's Colleen's experience, holding the broom. She noticed that Marianne, they're talking about Marianne's hit for 3 2 ends ago that really curled. So Colleen thinks her draw will curl as well.
Watch the tripod. Lot of room.
Lots of room.
Top house. Go, go, tight. Go. Go, go, go. Hard. Hard.
Line's
Hard. Finish it hard.
Line's good.
Go, go, guys. Go, 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 go. You got
Hard,
that.
8
Go,
foot.
go, go, go,
Hard,
go.
8 foot.
Go, 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 go,
Go,
go, go,
hard,
go.
hard.
Great sweeping. That's a pretty good spot. Didn't get second shot, but it's in a really good position.
And there was quite a nice finish now on that line.
Yeah, really curled, you're right.
So maybe that is also a bit a recipe
Seem to take 10 minutes
to-
to get down there.
Yeah,
Don't mind
I was
moving
afraid
weight.
they might
for
come
also
to us
the
like top
following
four.
ends to sometimes draw from
Yeah,
the
my feet are
outside
sweating
around the
from
corner guard to
Yeah, you're right. That might be the
Fully
way around.
bury.
That might be a way in. Going across the center line doesn't seem to be working very well, does it?
Go. Yep. Whoa. Whoa. Whoa.
Looking for the angle raise here.
Godt, Helle.
Godt, Helle.
Actually needed to sweep that. They were woeing the whole way down. They needed to sweep that a bit to stick it in. So same shot available now for Kim Kelly.
I guess this time she wants to get in even deeper. I mean,
Yes.
she could actually freeze
to
on
her
the
own.
shot rock.
Definitely.
Weight's nice.
Might need to go a little.
Yep.
Hard
Room.
line.
Room.
Careful.
Line's fine.
Here comes. Right on top, girls.
Really good shot.
Nice, Kim.
Good looking
Real
shot here
nice.
from Kim.
Nice.
Good judge.
Very nice.
Ja, skyld.
Det er den, der skal væk, hvis det er.
It's a good look by the guard by about 3 or 4 inches and finished nicely.
Anne, you must remember Kevin Martin's video about breathing.
Whoa.
So the call was either the run back or the double on the guards.
Ah, for det ærgerligt.
Didn't get either.
Oh, big old guard.
Big fat guard. I got my fat rock. I like the guard too because
Yeah, I think you got a guard, Marianne.
I think you do.
You don't like the Christmas tree?
Well,
They can still get
there's
it.
2 hit and rolls for them. Yeah.
Okay.
Little biter doesn't hurt.
I can't
Yeah,
Christmas tree
Marianne
protect anything.
first
No.
indicated to play a come around 8 foot behind the center line, but I think the guard, a close guard.
Yeah, guard's a good call. Colleen
It's a-
couldn't
it's a
resist
good option.
skipping a little bit there from the from the second position. I like the guard. You know, they said to leave a hit and roll available. Again, the rock's being so dead. I don't think the double is actually there.
Just clean.
Tight.
But a guard is
Clean only.
To your broom.
Bring it in if it's going to overcurl.
To your broom.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Never, never, never.
Sit.
trying to let it stop. The deeper it comes, the more it's going to curl.
Whoa.
Sit down.
Kim's saying whoa.
Shut.
Not sure if there's a port available or not. Pretty tight. Might be able to get through there.
Maybe with the backline weight,
Yeah, even
hitting
well,
it half and rolling behind the center guard.
Yeah, either that. Yeah, I think that might be the call. You're right. Quiet weight tap.
The other question is, does she want to play a run back on her own center guard again? For that, at least the center is going to be open for her last drop.
Although you know she's trying to steal, so I think I think I like your call, the quiet weight through the port, keep your shooter buried. I think if you try to throw the double, the big weight double, the back one's going to get pulled onto that stone at the back, and we'll see if she throws big weight. The double might be there if she throws peel, but it's very difficult. And she's throwing. Actually, she's throwing a big weight hit, not taking very much ice.
Vi er lidt i tvivl om, hvad fart vi skal spille. 9,5. Hullet er faktisk ikke stort. Det mener. Altså enten så tænker vi på, enten så skal vi sætte fejl med 10,5 hold. Det synes jeg helt sikkert ikke, vi skal.
How's your Danish? Do you understand?
Not much.
But as much as I have, that's good. So trying to get through the port with big weight. Interesting to see where this, if she does get through the, likely her shooter will roll out, but she might lose the stone at the back, 8 foot as well.
Go! Whoa! And yep! 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 Whoa! 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 Whoa!
Good shot.
May
And
I
you see like how dead the stones are. Nothing went out of the blues. Both blues stayed in the rings, right?
I didn't see
Crazy
that
how quiet, how little action there is on those stones.
Absolutely. I mean, it was a really good wait. I would say maybe eight seconds. Hawk,
and
hawk.
look, you're going through with
But,
some speed, and neither one of those blues got out of the house.
Crazy.
It's actually incredible
Yeah.
how dead the stones are.
Yeah.
Wow. That makes it tough. Yep.
Both of those stones really should have gone out of the house easily with that amount of weight. So again, great chance now for Arsenault. There's no in-turn draw available through the court, so she can get even just half around to the top 8 foot. She got a great chance of taking 3 more here in the fifth end.
It's the same.
Taking control of it. If she gets it buried, maybe even
Same as what I
4.
was throwing
Yep.
that way.
Yeah.
The mistake here would be to come too deep. Get this behind the tee line and let Nielsen play a freeze. So she, perfect shot, top 8 foot, just half buried even would do the trick.
Took a little off. Above the tee.
I think we're okay.
Here's say above
Where?
the tee.
Line.
Whoa!
T-line, back 4.
Whoa!
We're coming back
Can
to
we
that
come
one.
to it?
Back 4 is terrible.
Can't do much about that, really.
It's dying a lot. Stop. You're
Can I
stopping.
tuck a little?
Yep.
Sorry. Just we took your feet out.
That is not.
That came off
Good.
in a hurry.
A little heavy.
Can I tuck a little?
Yep.
The good news for Arsenault is that I don't think Nielsen can actually get shot rock if she plays the freeze. But the bad news is she'll have a hard time scoring more than 1.
Right in the middle of the school.
Would love to have had that rock stop 2 feet higher.
Yeah, with last rock, you don't actually want stones in the 4 foot. You prefer to stay in the 8 foot, 12 foot yourself,
I
and
have them still
like
in
that
this.
also not give the freeze possibility to the other team in the 4 foot.
Big pressure shot here, though. This is if she makes the freeze, probably going to hold them to 1. If she misses it, she's going to be down 2 or 3 playing the 6th end. So it's a big shot here for Nielsen.
Order.
Yep. As you can.
Also, she is
Papa,
not allowed to be
hello.
long. A bit short is okay.
Yep.
If she stops like 30 centimeters in front of that shot rock, but she's not allowed to bump it and roll to the open.
Close to the guard. Just by. Great shot. Now take it buried. Get shot rock.
Oh, wow. Yeah. But I think she
Excellent
stays
shot.
second shot, but in a very good position.
Excellent shot. Really great, actually. There's no way to score 2, I don't think.
I don't see what you got there at all.
The other way. You might have. I don't know if that's a hole. No.
Here's a replay. Look how close to the guard she came. If that ever rubs the guard, she's going to give up 4. And it turns out perfect.
Oh, she's way in
Tight.
there.
I know. That was a broom.
No,
for her.
I had her broom here and she came here. So let's go back to the original, I guess.
Yeah, okay, I'll put it.
Okay.
Same speed.
Okay.
So they're actually trying to come through the port and draw to the right on the tee line. I don't know this rock. This rock might over curl, actually. That was just a great draw by Nielsen. Game changer.
All right, 4 foot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Instead of being down a couple points, I would be very surprised if this shot's even possible to make. Really tough shot.
Similar weight will do.
Okay.
They actually need to just miss the guard on the right hand side on the port and hope that it doesn't over curl.
Just line.
Whoa, then.
Whoa.
Whoa, line.
We're close, so.
Whoa!
Whoa.
Whoa!
Whoa.
Never!
Whoa.
As soon as we can
It's
go.
not gonna
No, can't go.
Yeah, we were light anyway.
1.
So disappointing 1 there for Marianne Arsenault. After when she was throwing her first rock, a guard would have actually been better than where she ended up in the 4 foot there. And
Good.
great pressure draw from Nielsen to force the Canadians into taking a single point. So
Slower down the middle there.
tie
So
game now, playing the sixth end.
Exactly, 4-4 after 5 ends.
Indeed.
It did still work.
Getting into the decision phase of this semi-final game. While on the other sheet, it's also a very close game. Team Aarau Tirinzoni managed to score a 1 in the 4th end to lead 3-2 against the team from Erica Brown from the United States. So still everything open. Who's going to be in the final game at 2 o'clock this afternoon? We're going to broadcast that game again live, so hopefully you will join us then again.
And just to update, there is the Consolation Cup also going on out there, and both of those matches are tied 1-1, playing the 4th end. It's Crystal Webster against Andrea Schopp from Germany, and Yarkova is playing Motohashi from Japan in the other Consolation semi-final. Both of those games are also tight.
Det er ligegyldigt, bare tag det hele. Der står bane 6 på. For vi er på bane 6.
Det kommer an på, hvilken vej du kigger.
Okay.
Ja,
det er vi ikke.
Var det ikke det, Lasse, han brokkede sig over sidst?
Det ved jeg ikke.
Det er sjældent. Vi har vel ikke behov for...
So as we're going into that 6th end, we have another question from Walter Grosenbacher, and he's enjoying
Det var den der, ikke også, Lene?
our broadcast so far. Thanks a lot, Walter. And he's also wondering about the release that we've been speaking about. For example, we talked about Lene Nielsen's release, and he was wondering, Mike, if you're teaching some new curlers a new release regarding wrist position, finger position, giving the turn, what would be the things you teach?
Well, it's not. I don't think it's a question of you know, teaching something that's unusual. I mean, most of the curlers we've seen over the years, I mean, there's a couple of exceptions, of course, of the rock moving around them. Olsrud's the big one. He actually he has quite a bit of movement in his stone as well. But the release to me is important. It's just you want some consistency when the rock is moving like that as you're coming out. It's not always doing the same thing. So my philosophy is fewer moving parts the better. You know, how people release the stone and how they're holding their hand on it. How they actually put the handle on. I think there's a lot of ways to be successful doing that, but the more motion in the stone as you're sliding out, it just doesn't lend itself to being as consistent as someone who's a little bit more stable. So I don't think my philosophy on teaching that is keeping it as simple as possible and allowing. You know, curlers. I'm not in a situation where I'm teaching people to curl. It's you know, it's the design is a high performance type of facility. So having people come there who already are very good curlers and trying to take them a little bit further up with team dynamics and skills and that sort of thing, and just keeping things as simple as possible. I think it's really important. So, you know, most of the traditional textbooks, I think, have it down. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel. I just think it's just trying to keep it as simple as you can is really important. And whenever there's extra movement, I've been teaching golf for 25 years, and I always try to keep the movements, eliminate unnecessary movement is more what we're trying to do instead of changing the way people play.
Go. Long way to go. Hard. Keep it going, guys. Go.
It's a little bit of a mistake there from
Little more.
Denmark. They had thrown a corner guard, then hogged it. And we get into the second stones here. There's a center guard, and interesting to see Arsenault came into the rings, and you know, philosophy on many of the teams here is being one tied or being one down playing the 7th end is actually not a bad situation for either team. Each team's going to have a chance to score their 2 points. So, the question is whether or not Marianne Arsenault wants to force here, or they don't mind letting Nielsen try to blank. So, of course, would love to steal one if they could.
need less again.
So maybe just to come back to that question of Mike also concerning the release, my opinion is for me the most important part of the release is the very end when you let the stone go, and what I like is to have a very clean release of the stone, and we used to call it that you release the stone in a way that you can shake someone's hands when you let it go, which means that you really open up nicely your hand and let it go, and not some people still have their hands a bit on the stone, so a really nice and clear release can help a lot on fine-tuning your curling release.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's important, again, consistency and having a method where what you're doing is the same all the time. And it's really important also for teams that curl together that their releases are all similar so that the skip is able to read the ice clearly. So, you know, again, we talked about it earlier in the game where, you know, Kim, Kelly, and Marianne and Colleen have curled together for so long. They all throw their out turns, all run very straight. Their in turns maybe curl a little bit more, but being consistent with how you throw the rock with your teammates is really important.
Yeah, hard, 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 hard. It's going to go now.
Good.
Either get close or that.
That was about an 11, eh?
Nice shot there from Kim. And
Yeah.
first person to make the roll is going to have an advantage here in this end.
Eller her.
Lige nu bevarer
Getting
du
down to
muligheden for
third
at blande.
Har vi
stones
spillet
now.
tekst herudefra? Nej, nej.
Den ene her.
Go! Nej, wow, wow. Nej. Hjem. Wow. Hjem. 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 Wow. Go, man, go.
I said so close. So close to making the roll. Pretty good though. So I think it's about half buried. At least a quarter buried anyway.
Du tæt på. Ja, for søren da.
Here's a replay. Tried to get over there, not quite. Actually only about an inch buried in fact.
Yes.
Whoa! Whoa!
Okay,
More than
she's
board.
ready.
Or 10. Whatever.
Definitely want to stay.
Det var godt spillet.
So rolls out of play and allows Nielsen. It's now kind of a three against two situation. It's a really good position with the last rock here in the sixth end. Again, key part here is staying well above the tee line. Top 8 foot, just bite the 4 foot maybe would be
Exactly, yeah. Fully 8 foot, top 4 would be my preferred position here.
8. Bare hold den lidt igen.
We saw last end,
Klar på
the tee line is
retningen.
too deep.
4, kun retning. Der er masser af plads. 10. Virker lidt langt. Ja, hvis den begynder at køle, så stopper den på 10. Jamen, det gør den ikke.
This is actually already the 8th game team Nielsen has been playing.
Go, Shanna.
As we said before, they qualified out of the B road and had games against many nations. They started off with a win against a team from Switzerland, Basel Regio Sigrist, then just lost out to Annette Norberg, won against Flims Repower from Switzerland, Team Felcher, won again against the Japanese team from Motohashi, won again against Team Weavers from Scotland,
I got a
and
13-8 on that.
also against Team Yaki, actually the defending champion. They're out now, they lost their quarterfinal this morning to qualify for the quarterfinals themselves.
Yeah, really interesting this morning. All of the teams that qualified through the C road lost, and that's a little bit unusual, I would say. I think in the experience I've had at these events, the teams that are coming through the seaside, they've played so many sudden death games that they lose, they're out of the Bonspiel. So Arsenault and Tiranzoni came through the A side, Brown and Nielsen came B, and then the 4 teams for the C all lost this morning, which is a little bit surprising. But I think one of the factors in that though might have been fatigue. You know, you end up all of the teams that played through the C side had to play 4 games yesterday. And that's just a long day. And then to come back again this morning at 8 o'clock in the morning, they certainly would have been much more tired than the A and the B teams coming out first thing this morning.
Absolutely, that can make a difference.
It's very unusual to play 4 games in a day. It just doesn't happen that often. You just not, your body isn't used to it. You know, that's one of those things. But
that's also tough for the ice crew to actually bring a triple knockout system.
it is. It's a very
in 3
short.
days.
It's got its pros and cons. It's nice to play in 3 days, but when you have those 4-game days as a competitor, it's really difficult.
But great work from the ice crew and the whole organizing committee here in Bern. I mean, this Ladies Cup has been played now for the 45th team, so a real traditional event here. And we saw already many great competitions here in Bern over the last many years.
Going for line, just by the guard. It's amazing how much that curled, actually. You know, and again, we see the problem with coming too deep. You know, it happened, we discussed it. I see Colleen asking for the freeze, but just past the guard and really finished hard. And depending on who shot rock, I think red has actually shot stone. You know, the Colleen indicated a freeze, but
Do you think we're one?
this call takes a bit of nerve actually to actually play this intern freeze here, because if you miss it, you're going to give up a deuce. And the natural shot for me, if they wanted just to simply force them to take one, you could actually either hit that stone or play the double on the 2 reds, roll away, and you're still going to force Nielsen into taking one. So this decision is an attempt to steal. They're going to right into the top of the button and try to steal a point.
We will be in a minute.
And again, they have the option of playing the out turn as well. There's two options here for the freeze.
Well, it doesn't really matter because they're all in the back.
But Marianne just played the in turn on her first one. She has to get to the button though. I'm not 100% convinced I would play this shot myself, to be honest, but go with your instinct.
Lot of room. Lot of room.
Yeah, take the risk when you're up for it, and it seems they're up for it
This is tunnel.
here.
Short, they're saying, and it's wide. This is just a risk, a very big risk.
Hard.
It's short.
Okay.
Crazy.
Yeah,
Just
it's
a
not
crazy,
getting-
just
getting
not a
here.
good call. I mean, again,
Sorry, I was
unnecessary risk in my opinion. When you're tied playing the
Den skal
sixth
bare
end,
stoppe lige.
just didn't make sense.
So that leaves Lene Nielsen with a draw to the button for a deuce.
But it's for a deuce. It's a big deuce in the sixth end. Quite surprising. That call. Not the easiest draw though. There's not a lot of room to maneuver. She can't afford to bump her own stone more than an inch, I wouldn't think. So she's got about 1 foot to play with.
Og hvad havde du?
Jeg kan ikke huske det.
And it's a completely different path from her first draw that she threw. She threw the in turn on her first one, so a little bit of a challenge, but a great opportunity.
God fart. God retning. Retning er super. Ja. Der er god plads lige nu.
Nej, jeg vil ikke.
Der er god plads. Retning er god.
Ej, nej, kom nu.
And she's got it.
Det er flot.
Very nice draw for 2
Yep, great sweeping.
in that
and,
6th end to take up the lead 6-4.
Hold kæft, nu kan selv hvad den var.
Again, out of nowhere, really wasn't an earned deuce. It just got a mistake on the sixth draw.
Det var godt, at vi hørte efter Lasse.
So wish I had done that.
And the other semi, Erica Brown scored 2 in the 5th end and is 1 point ahead now of Tiranzoni. As they play the 6th, Tiranzoni has last rock.
What's your pleasure?
Oh.
They give us
Det ved jeg godt, tror jeg.
Det siger vi, hvis den er længere.
So here we see a few spectators following these interesting games here in the Bernese ice rink of the International Bernese Ladies Cup. As we're going into the decision phase here, Maria Paulsen is starting off the 7th end. My name is Nicole Strausak and alongside me is Mike Harris.
Skift den, hvis I kan. Skift. Det er godt farvet, piger. Det er rigtig godt farvet.
There's a lot of combinations and permutations.
But also quickly to summarize the road Team Arsenault took during that competition. They won all their first 4 games. Winner of the A road, starting off against the Swedish team of McManus, then winning against the Russian team of Kovaleva, winning against Team Yaki from Switzerland and Team Weavers from Scotland. And this morning in the quarterfinal against Team Annette Norberg, 5-4 to go on into that semi-final.
Hard, hard, hard! Hard, 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 hard.
Maybe the Lord wants us to play.
Oh boy. Okay.
I trump him right now.
That, yeah, whatever's. Okay, I hear you.
Noget 17.
Samme fart cirka. Sæt 12.
Nice corner guard to start from
Yep.
Jen Baxter, and
Hele vejen.
Arsenault's kind of forced to go pretty hard here now as they go.
Så længe den kører. Ja. Ej, spændende skud.
Hit and flop.
They mean to do that?
Yes, sure. We need to keep a blank alive, and this is a hit and roll. What's she calling?
Come around.
It's funny, interesting listening to Colleen. You know, you need to keep the blank alive, and I just don't agree with that at all. You're down 2. You need to go hard right now, and even if you get forced to take one, you're going to have to steal regardless in the next end. So go hard and try to take your 2 or try to take your 3 and mix it up. There's no.
We don't need to sell a firm. We can get an easy deuce or a 3 with a little roll.
That's a bit the way Colin Jones always liked to play.
Conservative,
That's
yeah, very conservative.
exactly what you mentioned before.
Yeah.
And you don't see many big ends with her on the ice. It's always tight games, a lot of ones, maybe 2s on the scoreboard, but hardly bigger ends.
They're going to play the hit and roll instead of playing the draw, which I don't disagree with. I think that's.
Because really, that guard's too long to come around. Nice, easy deuce or 3.
You got her, Jen.
Easy.
I think it's going backwards.
Yep.
Whoa. Come on, curl.
Hard, Colleen. No. Anything.
Curl.
Come on. Anything. No.
Ooh.
A little bit.
Hvad fart? 10 her.
You hear them saying, you know, getting that sense of urgency of having to score 2 points, and I said that was part of the problem with the draw they played last end. If they'd only forced Nielsen to take one, this would be a much more comfortable position for Colleen now. And I think they took an unnecessary risk there last end, really trying to get the freeze.
Yep. Hvis du kan, Helle. Okay, Jana.
Let's keep hitting and rolling. Keep a blank alive with a deuce or a 3.
You still want that?
I like the hit and roll.
So Lene Nielsen, of course, her end plan would be to force Team Arsenault to score 1. That would be probably the best result.
That would be best.
They could come off to go 1 up into the last end with the hammer.
Hard on it, Kim.
You can't ask for much more.
No, and I don't think they'd be heartbroken to see a blank either. There's a great hit and roll though from Colleen. Perfect hit and roll from Colleen Jones. Out-turn hit's always been her her go-to shot that she likes to throw. Look at that perfect roll. Kim Kelly sweeping that
Nice
over.
throw, Colleen.
Very
Dead buried.
nice.
So the way you get 3 now is they try to run back. If they don't make the run back, then you can go around the corner guard, and you'll have a chance to get 2 buried eventually. And
Go! Oh!
Whoa.
Up, 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 up! Right, yeah! Whoa! Whoa! Whoa!
this is close.
Yep!
How's this for perfect?
Yep! Yep!
Great shot. Great shot.
They're good at those run backs.
Yeah. Nice hit and roll here. Let's do it again.
What weight do you want to throw?
Wait, 9.5, Miriam.
How much?
9.5.
Very nice.
Yep.
Go, go, go!
Hard.
Whoa!
Whoa. Whoa. Whoa.
Yep! Yeah, 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 yeah,
Yep,
yeah!
yep, yep, yep.
2 great hit and rolls there from Colleen.
Jeg er ikke sikker på, hvad det er.
Love to have had that rock roll another few inches.
Lidt mere, ikke?
Couple of nice pressure
Jeg
shots
har
though.
halvdelen!
Not the biggest hole in the world there.
Tror du, vi kan komme igennem?
Jeg tror selv, vi ruller
Had to
ud.
sweep it a little bit harder.
Hvad vil du, Anna?
Yeah.
That intern port is not very big.
It's almost better. It's off nose a bit.
Hva?
Prøv den her.
Det er derfor, der er ikke så meget plads.
Så tag run
No,
back.
it's not going to be a easy
Ellers
shot.
lav den,
As you
giver du
said,
bare
the
den
port
fint.
is quite
Jeg tror ikke, vi skal holde os til den.
Especially with
Narrow.
this turn, yeah. The you
Yeah.
know the guard on the left side being higher, the rock's going to be curling away from it. It's
jeg
just
har
difficult
halvdelen.
to get through the ports
men der er
that are
stadigvæk ikke særlig
staggered
meget
this
plads.
way.
Tag run back.
Colleen's path through the port was a little bit easier, so they've actually changed their mind to going back to
Yep.
the run back, which I don't disagree with.
The good thing about the run back is, of course, afterwards, if it works out
Whoa!
perfectly, the middle is
Whoa!
going to be open again.
Whoa! Yep! Yep!
Close.
Yep!
Makes it perfect again.
And stuck it. Oh, gee.
Well, I would have liked it to run a bit more straight. That, of course, the center.
Pretty good though, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
it's pretty
okay,
good.
I'm asking maybe a bit for
That's
much.
fine. Well, you know, and then I think it's now decision time. I think Marianne has to go play a draw.
Absolutely.
They're actually playing the hit through the port, the intern side. I'm pretty surprised by this. The out-turn draw looks a pretty natural shot here.
Yep!
Get it buried.
Hard!
Hard.
Hard! Really, 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 really
Whoa.
Whoa!
That's a nice shot. That was not
Heavy.
easy.
Sorry about that.
Yeah,
Good
actually,
try.
Mike, I was talking rubbish anyway, as Team Arsenault is having last rock, so Team Nielsen is quite happy
I
with
was just letting you go. It was
with,
fine.
with leaving
I was
with
just letting
leaving
you go,
that
it's
center
okay.
guard. Why didn't you intervene?
Being polite, you know. How we will, so. But Nielsen's got a good chance now to, the goal. Of course, you'd love to steal one and really put the game away, but even now, she's great chance to
Åh,
force
plads!
Arsenault to take the point.
Plads! Skift!
4.
2 great shots there from
Retning er okay, kan godt bruge lidt hjælp.
Denmark. The
Yep,
2
she
run
can.
backs and stick
godt.
them in the
Yep.
house. It's really good.
Go, Fia, go, 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 go. Den dykker så flot nu. Okay, Helle.
Det er ærgerligt. Det er godt faret ellers. Keeps her blank alive.
Keep the blank alive. They keep saying keep the
Does that
blank
look good
alive.
for
I just
Hack?
don't like blanking at all. I think it's
Same way to just
they need to have played a little. Well, I would have played a little bit more aggressively this hand, but as you say, that's not unusual for Colleen and Marianne and Kim
Clean.
to play somewhat conservatively.
Ja. Whoa.
You do really need to stay here, otherwise
Same as last
Nielsen
one.
Just clean.
can
Clean.
ignore this. Go
Clean.
around again. That's a good touch there. Much quieter weight there.
Absolutely, they play a nice weight here and roll to the side.
Taget hurtigere, så må hun selv
That's a good result in that situation.
Ja, fordi jeg er bange for, hvis ikke vi gør det, så gør hun det.
Ja, så gør hun det jo bare.
Den kører sig ret lige.
So Lene with her first skip rock is going to aim for a hit and roll behind that center guard just to keep up the pressure in the middle.
Det var lidt mere. Nej.
Wow. Kommer lidt nu.
Nej.
Okay.
Ja.
9-9.
Just not curling enough for the roll, so it remains as a hit and stick.
All right, Bernie. Take a good one.
But if you're feeling the skipper deuce, you can do it. But it's,
Canadians
you know,
are now
either
discussing
one.
if they
Yeah.
want to make the roll behind the one of the guards.
I
Actually,
think
they have
to
two
try. I think they have
options.
to try. I mean, you know that Nielsen's going to be trying to do that. So
Let's go for the hit and roll.
Hit and roll. Okay, great.
Accomplish both.
well, you just go
Yeah.
back and reflect. There's two really critical misses in this game from Marianne. One was the shot in the sixth end, the attempted freeze. And maybe you could argue this even if you didn't like the call, if she makes the shot, she's fine. But the biggest miss, really, for me, it was in the fifth end when her draw came too deep. She had a chance to get 3 or 4 in that fifth end and really let Denmark off the hook. And so this, as a result, she's down 2 here as they go into the last skip rocks here in the seventh end. So it was one of those games of missed opportunities for. If they end up not winning this game, I think they'll look back and say, it was one of the ones that got away.
Okay.
She has to stay.
Okay.
Doesn't quite get the roll
Nice
through,
weight.
but
No curling.
Sidder den fint nok?
Ja, den bliver bare sat mere frem end de andre. Hvis du bare gør det samme igen.
so Nielsen can actually be a little bit more aggressive with the roll. She'd love to roll buried, but even rolling out's not the end of the world. So
I think so too, and she has
Er det så 9,5 eller er
such a
den
big
var 9,5?
area on the left side to roll to. It could be behind the center guard, it could be behind the corner guard, even half buried would be good. That would make a clearing for Team Arsenault
Well,
just
even
so much difficult.
the port is so narrow. Even if she rolls right in the center of the port, wide open, it's going to be really difficult to hit and roll out. You can play the takeout, but certainly won't be able to roll. So this is, as you say, go be aggressive, try to really make the roll. Close. How's that? Perfect.
That's it.
Perfect. Perfect roll.
A nice
And
last stroke of Lene Nielsen in that seventh end.
Okay. Perfect.
Here's a replay, and watch the sweepers right at the end. And it rolls dead buried. And full 8 foot too. It's not the easiest draw for Marianne. She threw this exact draw in the fifth end. This is that draw that did come a little bit deep right to the tee line. That's the exact same line that she threw. So she had a good idea about weight here.
So yeah, now she has to draw the 4 foot with her last rock to score 1, and the Canadians actually didn't have a chance in the seventh end for a 2 at any point. So
and that's when you play conservatively. You're not really putting yourself in position that way. But interesting, this rock actually, she's thrown 2 draws with it in the last 2 ends, and for weight, it's not been close. Both times she had a draw for 2, and the fifth end was light, and the freeze she threw last end was also light. So
Go, go, go.
We're good.
see where this ends up. But here Kim Kelly say we're good. Right on the tee line,
Good.
nice straight.
Nice throw.
But mission accomplished for Team Denmark.
We barely got to the corner of the 4 foot there.
yeah, of course one can say advantage now all on the Nielsen team, being 6-5 up after 7 ends, going into the last decisive end with the hammer.
Yeah.
Just listening to Marianne talking about her rock, and they're talking about how it didn't curl. It only said barely got over to the edge of the 4 foot. You think she's thrown it? They said shown it 3 times that we remember. First end she threw a freeze. Sorry, the second end she threw a freeze that didn't curl anywhere near enough. In the fifth end she threw a draw with it that didn't curl enough to get by the guard, and in the last end, in the sixth end, her in-turn freeze also was never going to curl enough. So 4 times now she's thrown that rock, and it's gone really, really straight. So it's an indicator on her last one in the extra, the last end, that it's going to be difficult to get that stone buried if she has a center guard in play.
So I guess they're aiming for a long guard with this first rock.
Yeah, the question is, do you go long one first and then
Make sure we're over. Look at the pinching going on there.
Just over curling, of course it has to be on the center line.
that just got across?
Full out for a steal for Team Arsenault here in that last end. And Lene Nielsen is going to try to keep the center open, not with the first stone yet of Maria Poulsen. She's just going to draw behind.
Yeah, and again, keep it in front of the tee line, very important.
Ja, men den sådan lige det hurtige.
I tried to pick. It was gonna come through.
I'm thinking, okay, that's awfully close for them not steep enough.
Kom Maria.
An alternative, of course, would have been the tick shot on the long center guard. I guess because it isn't such a good center guard, she didn't aim for it. Or
Yeah,
what
and
do
I
you
think
think,
a lot
Mike?
for a lot of teams, it becomes it's almost a team philosophy. Do you like to try the tick shot, or would you rather throw a top 8 foot in?
Nice and
you
tight.
know,
Make sure
for
you're
our
there.
team, we almost never play the tick shot unless we're up 3 or 4
Gotta
points.
go.
We would come into the top 4 foot. Just a preference. But some teams are quite good at the tick. And this
Far as
one's
you
got
can.
this has to get past the guard.
Far as you can.
Okay, so line's good.
Yep.
Line is good. A bit more separation would have
Would have been
been
nice. Yeah.
nice.
And you saw Lene just indicate top of the rings, top 12, top 4 is what they're looking for. And then they'll start to peel. Actually really quite impressed so far with Nielsen. They've made a couple of nice run backs, a couple of nice peels in this game. So it seems to be a very strong hitting team.
That's right. They showed a very solid performance during that semi-final. Lene also with her draws when they were needed. She always made them.
Okay, nice touch.
There's a pretty good spot.
Do something. Bump that.
Can we
Bump that back
You
four.
can get here.
Just bump that one back 4. Back 8. Leave our shooter right there. That'll be great.
Okay. Do that thing.
Colleen, so positive. That would be great. She says that's funny.
Just do that now.
Do that now, yeah.
Clean.
Back line.
Whoa.
Whoa. Tack.
Whoa. Curl, baby. Curl.
Needs to get to the nose. Doesn't want to roll open.
Oh.
There, that works. That's good.
That's overly positive, I would say. I don't know if that works very well at all. but-
No, important was where the shooter is going to stay, and the shooter rolled out to the very far side where it's not going to be any help. And very important was to keep the shooter right there in the center in the 12 8-foot area. So Jean Ellegaard is going to play some fast clearing rocks. Goal is to open up that center.
I think right now, if you're Marianne, I would be really tempted
wanna
actually to
weld
come
on
in and
now?
freeze on that stone on the button, try to move it back
I kinda
a
want to.
foot,
It's
stay
right
shot
on the edge of
rock,
the button,
open
but-
things up a little bit,
And not play another center guard.
well, I would play.
I'm
I
coming
mean,
the other
you
way
know
and
that
do it
Nielsen's
too,
going to
right?
come in and follow. If you can get frozen right on the nose of that shot right now, and
I don't know when to do this.
Okay.
yeah, they're going to go talk about it.
I think another guard won't hurt because they will peel.
Jen Baxter makes a very
Think
good
it's too early
point.
for
Is
this
if you
right
throw a
now?
guard, they
Guards
will
really
peel.
free.
Very
So
useful,
she's right about that as well. So
Yeah.
What do you figure she's going to do if we do that?
So if we lock one
no
on and they
idea.
decide to
Yeah, I have
peel,
no idea.
then we can
Just
put a
gonna-
better
we
guard
throw
up.
a blast, and then we throw a center.
I think I can
You know, and then
almost
they're gonna
come right
blast her at the
that way and
center.
tap it back, right? Because that guard is very high.
Just lock her on?
I'm not sure the time. I don't know about the timing. You know, if
I
it's too
think
early or
doesn't
not.
Yeah, I
sound
would
terrible.
quite like another guard. Close center guard, half buried
Yeah,
actually
that's
behind
fine.
the center guard that is already there.
Yes.
So we have a very small part of the button.
And just leave a
Pull in
chance
on your way
to
down 'cause there is a boo-boo. I
play a
just saw
little
boo-boo.
tap back
Okay,
or
okay.
even freeze later on in the game
Just
on
a guard.
that
Just okay.
red shot rook.
Well, I said you know what your opponents are going to play. If you throw the center guard, you know they're going to try to peel it, which is great. So that simplifies your decision making a little bit.
Halfway, I'd
But
say.
eventually, you're going to have to play the freeze.
Whoa.
The question is, which rock do you want to do it on?
Whoa for line.
Tight.
Whoa for line.
Okay.
I'm gonna leave it on this side a bit so they can try to jam it
Whoa.
over there.
You don't want that side?
I want it on this side
Okay.
so they can sort of jam over here, you know?
Right.
Good.
Nice.
Good one.
That's good. Good thought there from Marianne. Said if you leave it here, so they might jam on the one on the side, which is an excellent point. They have to hit this fairly thin, actually.
Yep. Whoa. Yep. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Looks good.
Fint, Anna. Jeg står der bare der. Cleared it out.
Yeah, that's a perfect result.
Are we going short again?
It wasn't easy, as you indicated. You really
No.
had to
Have to
hit
be
it
careful.
very thin, not to cause any damage with the own stones in the house. So I guess we're going
Actually,
to
a tight
see
guard would be nice. Actually, get about a foot from the rings would make it
Same
much
as
more difficult
Colleen's.
to peel.
Well, careful, girls. Looks like it's skating a
a
little.
bit of worried face of Kim Kelly there. Ooh, it's looking long enough.
Simmer. Or about 8 feet more.
Yeah. Oops.
And Marianne said, what happened there? And that's because that rock went so straight. And,
på som muligt.
actually, a nose hit right now would be pretty good for Nielsen. Although the intern might be there as well.
Den
Both
med
turns
4
are
fod, så gør det jo
available.
ikke noget.
Tror I, vi kan få den helt af med den her, eller køre den ned igennem?
Hvad med bare...
Vil du ikke bare lige rulle herind? Hvis du laver den her, så går hun ind den vej næste gang, så kan jeg ikke komme ind. Jeg vil gerne have den helt af.
Nå, jeg kan godt lide den så lige på som muligt.
Problemet er, at hun kan komme ind begge veje, så laver du den, så går hun den vej ind.
Så kan du skyde på den røde.
Så skal du spille 9,5 og få den ud gennem der, og selv rulle herover af. Så kan de så godt holde den op og køre den helt af. Ja. Yep. Yep. Wow. Ui, var den skæv. Ja, lidt. Okay.
Wow. They were trying to hit the one at the top 12 foot there. That really wasn't very close at all. And actually a little bit of a problem for Nielsen now.
Guard that blue.
Or do we want to leave it for an angle?
You gotta leave the blue for an angle in case after we guard, she decides to guard. But it's still a guard.
So now they are discussing if they're going to play a little tap maybe on that
freeze tap,
freeze
or,
tap.
Or guard.
Question is, do you want to be shot rock after that rock?
I
If
think
you want to be, you need to tap it a little bit.
Well, this is the discussion. If you throw the guard, you know they're going to peel. So do you want to do it now, or do you want to do it on Skip's rock?
here.
So.
So you've always got that bump up. I think she's gonna feel.
Yeah.
Quick update on the other
That's so
semi-final.
nice
Tiranzoni
still.
got her 2 back in the 5th end, or 6th end. Sorry, they're up 5-4, playing the 7th.
Yeah, because I think we go on
Yep.
top
And
right now.
Erica Brown has last rock.
Third, wham the front
Because
one
she'll
back.
realize.
Right.
Back in our game. Did they decide on the freeze, or did they
And
decide
then
on
we've
the
got
guard?
nothing.
It has to be perfect. Mine has to be perfect, not to let her have that.
You're going for another
Okay.
One more guard.
card.
Okay, so let's
Yeah, so
let's
you're
wanna make
Which I-
99% sure Nielsen's going to peel, and then you play the freeze on
Yeah.
your
Which I like actually. I think with the
Hey, love it.
third player, it's an absolute
Well,
good
it
call
gives
to
them-
to go for a
Yeah,
center
it gives
guard
them
again.
2 chances to make the double if you come in again.
Tight.
Mine's good.
Halfway. Halfway.
Whoa.
No sweep. It's 12
Whoa.
foot.
Whoa.
Stop moving.
No, it's stopping.
Good shot.
Good.
Did over curl a bit. They still wanted to bite the center line at least.
Yeah, I said I don't think they're gonna. I don't think they're going to ignore that stone.
Yeah.
And actually, if they do, I'm sure Colleen would. I keep saying Colleen. Marianne, I'm sure would be happy if they ignored that one. No danger.
Go! Yep! Whoa! Yep! Whoa! Yep! Whoa!
Helle Simonsen with a nice clearing on her last rock of this eighth end semi-final game between Team Arsenault and Team
Gonna try to blast.
Nielsen here at the International Bernese Ladies Cup.
But then
Yeah, so I think
same shot, keep it
Marianne
open.
really
You do
needs to
kinda
play
have
the
to move it
freeze
though,
here
don't
now.
you?
I don't even think she has to get shot rock.
Usually, but
I don't imagine Nielsen can afford to ignore the stones. If she plays a perfect freeze, they'll have an angle raised in the blue if Nielsen guards, or
whether you need to
so
do it
freeze
now
is fine.
or
On your very
It
last.
would be great to get shot rock, but they don't need to do it right now. Don't need to do it right away.
she, as long as she doesn't
That's great
feel
ice.
them both,
Okay.
can't feel them both.
Yeah.
But I think I don't know.
Walk her on.
Right to it.
Yep. Don't move it. Just sit on it.
I wouldn't mind a little tap.
I think the only reason it's not a big deal to tap is because you have your other blue one out front that you could always play a
Think
little
so.
angle raise on. So she'll have
gotta
two
go
options
wait.
on her
Room,
last
you
if
can
she makes a
wait.
perfect
You
freeze.
can wait a little
Yeah,
bit.
line's pretty good.
Room.
Yep.
Room.
Whoa, you still have room.
Room.
Wait, it's close. Clean it.
Line is looking really nice.
Yep, right
It's
to it,
coming
right
in.
to it.
We are to it.
Big finish
Nice
at
shot.
the end
Beautiful.
and a really nice result.
Yeah, beautiful
Great
shot.
shot.
Det tror jeg ikke, du kan. Så tror jeg, at den nummer 3, den ligger lige står lige.
Skal den der?
You're calling to if she guards. There's no, but Nielsen can't afford to guard. She has to because of that blue one out front. If she throws the guard, Marianne can actually possibly steal two. So she definitely won't be playing the guard.
Du må helst
Ja, eller
komme
bare
her.
fryset er jo også en god idé.
Den skal blive herude. Eller lige
Kan man
på
max
næsten.
det? Altså så...
Det er mere fordi, vi lige
Lige på,
ligger
så vi ligger stadig, ikke?
Jo.
Så lige på som muligt, ikke?
Ja. Ej, vi vil gerne have vinklen på, ikke? Skal bare fryse ud.
Det er ikke sikkert, fordi hvis du ligger der her, og hun skyder på den, så
Here,
vil
Nielsen.
vores bevægelse
She's coming
lidt
in
af.
for the
Jeg tror, du skal
freeze.
have den sådan, så at næste gang du skal have vinkel til at skyde på den.
Ja, lige
And
præcis.
she'll almost guarantee herself a little bit of a short run back on
Lige
her
der.
last one
Ja,
to
hvordan kom
win.
Den må
if,
bare ikke klikere på sådan der netop, og så
Arsenault
kan
can
den gå
get
den vej.
shot rock.
Ja.
Men er det ikke det rigtige?
Jo, det synes jeg.
Eller er det kun at få den her op?
Jeg synes bare, det giver hende nogle vinkler til at ødelægge vores vinkler, ikke?
heller ikke den her kamp.
Jeg kan godt mærke det lidt.
Tror du, den skal have mere?
Men ikke så
Den
meget.
curlede ret meget.
If she would
før.
peel off the
The top one?
yeah, what
Yeah.
would
Not bad either. Yeah, not bad either.
Ja.
with the shot she's going to play, it's going to be a bit more complicated, of course.
Oh yes, yeah. There's definitely going to be. Yeah, she might make things very difficult for herself as well by playing the shot.
But
Lift freeze.
It's feeling the blue one actually at the top is quite a good call. Yeah, and with the rocks being so dead here, it's you seem to think that if Arsenault can ever make a tap freeze,
it could be
it's
difficult
really
to actually
hard
play a
get the
double.
stones out.
Yeah.
Jeg kan godt lide det her. Hvis du clearer den forreste, hvad gør hun så?
Thinking about it.
Så brækker hun til det der. Skal vi lave en dobbelt?
Problemet er, hvis den
But
her
of
ikke
course,
er
a steal of two is almost impossible if you clear off the yellow front one now.
Yes, you're
So
right.
But she's going for the draw in the 8-foot.
Tall!
Maybe if she dead freezes on it, it's
Maybe
fine.
even freezes on it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Fire! Yeah!
not heavy.
Fire! Yeah! Order! Yeah! Yeah!
They're calling it for line.
Come on! Yep! Yep!
And it is
You know what? It actually worked out really well for her, I think. Just got past the blue.
It's almost better to just to do this to this.
actually blocks off the race on the blue for the Canadians, which is
It's almost the same, you know, it's almost
a very good result.
We leave our shooter there.
I mean, okay, that was their main goal anyway, to just curl a bit behind that blue rock, but the way it turned out, it's really a good result.
Well, you can't afford to have this bounce to the open, right? Do you need to hit it, guys?
That's true.
Well, I think it's in your...
Whatever you really know the ice
I think
for.
it's your best interest to, bingo, keep your guard there. This is not going to go anywhere, this rock now. And then that goes just to there. It's just a little heavier than what you threw just there.
Yeah, I don't think we'll get any movement.
You won't, but you were there. You were there. Now, okay, so there.
So Mike, which option do you think is the one with the highest rate of success?
Move it.
Depends what she wants.
Because we really need
to
this,
steal one,
you
then
know,
I
back
think
line
playing
to move that many.
I'm actually really concerned about this rock that won't curl. You know, I think we've seen it 4 times already run really straight. And
It's a little sad that kind of flinged in behind
the question
our...
is, do you throw hit weight at that one or do you throw heavy draw?
Still not gonna
Colleen
move much, is
indicated
it?
throwing a heavy draw, but Marianne likes the hit.
It's Kim. What
I
did
think that
Kim
looks
do?
good.
Didn't Kim have a 2 ends ago?
That looks good.
They're going to throw some hit at this. You know, the problem with throwing hit weight is that if you're not quite precise with the contact, you might spring your blue one into the open, or the shooter might roll out.
Should be good for easy regular, right? Right there.
But there's a good look at the angle. I think dead on the nose, or just a little bit to the left side of center,
Like 9/8.
with the 9/8, so that's 9.8 seconds.
Because,
Hair.
yeah, because it is pretty staggered.
Yep.
So Marianne Arsenault with her last rock in this 8th end. Raise on the opponent, red rock, to create a possibility of a steal for one.
Hard! Hard! Whoa! Yeah!
Whoa!
Close. Beauty.
Very nice.
Great shot,
Very
actually.
nice.
And the question, did she stagger the 2 blues as well to make things difficult for her? Wonderful shot.
Shot rock is really fully buried.
Yeah, good shot.
I wonder if Lena can just play exactly the same rock.
And it's pretty much without risk as well. I think her red is close enough.
Du vil ikke spille
There's no way to give up a steal of 2 by playing that shot, I don't think. There's a good look at the angle, and because of the angle of the two blue ones, there's no risk of her giving up a steal of 2 by playing this shot. So I like the call. Pretty simple shot. Expect her to be close.
Things came off of there.
Even if she hits it a little bit on the high side, too far on the outside, you might get lucky off the second blue one and still make contact with the one in the top 4 foot. So there's a few different options here. Expect her to be close.
Go! Rent! Go! Rent! Nej!
Needs to curl a little.
Kommer nu. Kør!
Ah, det er
Got
stærkt.
it.
It's looking good, and
Great shot.
she's done it.
And that's a win.
7-5 for Team Nielsen, heading up for the final game that we're actually also going to cover at 2 o'clock this afternoon. And I'm just going to head down, Mike, to see if I can fetch Lene for a quick interview.
Excellent. While you do that, we'll update what's going on the other sheets. So
Og det er hurtigt.
So great win there for Nielsen, and probably a little bit of one that got away for Marianne Arsenault and her team from Halifax, but good victory. And so just to update over on the other semi-final right now, Erica Brown was forced to take one in the 7th end against Silvana Tiranzoni. So Tiranzoni has last rock as they go down to the 8th end. And in the Consolation Cup that's being played out there as well, Yarkova stole 2 points against Motohashi from Japan. So she is up 5-2 playing the 7th end. And Crystal Webster is down 1 to Andrea Schopp as they played the 7th, and they've as they're playing the 8th end. Webster has the hammer, down 1. And we've just slid our overhead camera over to have a look at the sheet. And you saw the first tick shot was made by Tiranzoni there on in the other semi-final against Brown. So they're looking to throw one more center guard, and Tiranzoni, of course, will look for the second one. So. And you hear Nicole down there with Lenny trying to secure her for an interview.
Lenny Nielsen, congratulations on winning that semi-final. It was quite an exciting game, but you had a very solid performance.
Yeah, I think we played a good game as a tough opponent, with good ice and a lot of good shots, so I'm satisfied.
We were talking quite a lot about the decision that Team Canada actually took to give you the opportunity of scoring a 2 in the 6th end. That was a bit a turning point in our view. How did you see it?
I thought it was a good call she made, but it just she has to get it down to our ruck, so I was just kind of relieved because it gave me the draw for 2. So.
That's right. So you qualified over the B road, so you have quite a few games already in your bones. How are you doing so far? Still really fit for the next game?
Yeah, I think so. We are all in pretty good shape. I think we practice a lot during the summer and try to keep it up over the fall season. So we're ready, but it's game number 9, so let's see.
So you're going to face actually one of the 2 teams that are just playing here on this sheet, either Erica Brown from USA or Team Silvana Tiranzoni from Switzerland. I guess you know both teams quite well. Do you have any preference?
Not at all. I only played Tiranzoni, I think. I never played Brown. But all teams here are good, so it doesn't matter who it is.
And what can we expect from you in the final game?
We will try to keep playing as well as we have been so far. We have a really good draw game so far, so it'll be an interesting game.
So we wish you good luck for the final game. See you later on.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nicole. That's good. It's our bonus coverage here over on sheet 6. So there's a center guard available, and the tick shot was not made twice, but things are not looking too bad here for Tiranzoni in this end. Sweeping hard to get by the guard here. So Peel, the center guard, actually got a good break there with their shooter going over and removing the stone in the side of the 8-foot. But opportunity here now for Erica Brown. They've got a good stone in position, top of the button. And if they can get a few perfect guards as they go in, they have a great chance. So missed guard there from Brown. Opens up this stone on the button, but they do still have a center guard. That's a pretty good shot there from Tiranzoni. So Erica Brown trying to figure out whether she played the hit and roll or the draw. Problem stone for Erica right now is that blue stone at the top of the forefoot is in a great position for Tiranzoni. Deb McCormick in the hack. Unfortunately, no sound on the players. They weren't mic'd for us this game, but shooter needs to stay here in the forefoot for shot stone. And that actually rolled out as actually, looks like it's third shot. So Tiranzoni lying 2. So they can now just peel these center guards away and probably be in pretty good shape here. We'll have an open hit to win if the situation stays the same. Regardless of whether they're second shot or not, they should be peeling this guard, and they are.
So Marlene Albrecht coming up with a peel with her first rock.
That actually isn't the end of the world. Open things up, and Silvana will probably have a pretty simple shot now to win this game.
Debbie wanting to replace that center guard.
Yeah, I think they'll probably throw 2 more guards, and then on Erica's last one, they may come down and try to lie 2, tap that stone back.
I mean, for a long time, Debbie McCormick was keeping her own team.
Yeah, for a number of years. That's right. Just started playing third last season for Erica, actually.
And Anne Swisshelm was also on the McCormick team.
Yes. Yeah, back in 2003, that's right.
She wants to
looking at playing the intern. I don't know. The outturn is available as well for her, and you know, you see those stones that she's worried about jamming in the back, but those stones are in the back of the rings, and she shouldn't really be too worried about this. The problem with this stone is if she hits and rolls, all of a sudden that center guard now is only about a foot off the center line, and Erica Brown can actually come into the forefoot, get it buried. Yeah, rolled a little further than that. Best she can do maybe is full 8 foot, but still. The question is, does she want to throw one more guard, or does she want to come around that blue guard now into for second shot, or in for shot rock, excuse me. Erica's just having a conversation with the teammates where she wants to go around the guard or throw another center. I think what do you like? I think I like going around the corner guard now.
Yeah, I wouldn't have mind to play another center guard.
Yeah. She can get this right on the tee line, and assuming Silvana will peel that guard, then she can maybe come full forefoot or top forefoot on her last one. So we'll see what ends up happening here.
There are always different options, and you also need to pick the shot that you know you can accomplish.
Exactly.
And taking in mind as well which stones you want that your opponent has to play and in which order. So she has decided now for the come around. Fully buried behind that corner guard on the tee line. The stone is on its way. It's looking heavy enough.
Yeah, certain and wide as well. Really needs to stay for shot rock. That's the most important thing at this stage. It does the trick, but mostly open, I would say. And Silvana not taking a lot of time, so it's almost completely wide open.
She wants to roll away from that spot, Silvana Tirinzoni, with her first rock. She doesn't want to leave a pocket there.
Yeah, nose hit would be bad, for sure. She rolling over to the right side in front of that other...
Of her own red rock would... of the other red rock.
Actually. Not allow the come around. First job, just get rid of it though. It's quite good. Very nice.
That's a very good result. The double wasn't necessary, but of course it's nice, and it's especially nice because the own rocks are now really in the back foot toward in the back 8 foot towards the 12 foot. So
yeah, the best that Erica can do here is maybe full 8 foot buried. So regardless, Silvana will have a draw to the 4 foot to win the game. So again, it's all you can really ask for, right? So you can see the graphic. We're 48 minutes to the final as well, so after this game wraps up, we'll be back with you at 2 o'clock European time.
And let's see if we're going to have an intercontinental final or a European final. Team Lene Nielsen is waiting for the winner of this game to play in the final.
Just didn't take the curl, and that's actually, I think it's even more wide open than her last one. So simple shot here for Silvana to move on to the final.
A straight nose hit can secure her the spot in the final. There will be also a game between third and fourth place. It will be played. So we're going to have 2 games at 2 o'clock and we're going to feature the final. Here is Silvana Tirinzoni with her last rock.
Once it gets by the guard, she's got it. Well done. So the final is set.
There she is. The spectators are clapping. Well played. And Silvana and her team have qualified for the final game starting at 2 o'clock Central European time. So we're going to take a break of 45 minutes and then Mike and myself we're going to be back to broadcast the final game to you. So thanks a lot for joining us and see you again and hear you again at 2 o'clock. Bye for now.